Hello and welcome to a special edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host, Sean Grammer, here with me as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And joining us today, Mr. Randy Isbell.
You just have to bring me back so I can talk about the lack of games I played this year. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Hey, I feel the same way. I didn't get to play the length of games that I wanted to play this year.
I got to 15. I did get to 15 this year, so I'm happy with that.
And well, it is time. It's our Game of the Year episode, as Mark, Randy, and myself have all put in our top 15s in the doc. We have calculated the numbers and we've figured out what our ultimate top 25 is. If you're following along live in the chat, wherever it is that you're watching, you can give us your thoughts on the Game of the Year, what you think it is. That's all we're doing on this episode, other than talking about some stuff from the year. And then next week we'll do our most anticipated games of 2026, since it's already going to be 2026 the next time we see you here. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get things started, shall we?
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right, so let's go ahead and get things going here. We'll do the housekeeping a little bit later. This year, 2025, was absolutely crazy for the amount of games, the amount of great games that we had come out. We're missing one game that probably could have turned a lot of these lists upside down if it would have come out, which is Grand Theft Auto 6. But that got delayed till almost the end of next year. So depending on when your cutoff is, that may not even make that 2026 either. So
they delayed that to get out of the way of Expedition 33. We all know it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. So when you look back at 2025, I guess aside from the games which we'll talk about in this episode, is there anything that kind of stands out about like what you think about as the theme for 2025 in gaming? Mark?
Not really. I mean, kind of a good year for independence, I guess. Like not AAA games necessarily, but and the rise of AI nonsense, which is just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah. Unfortunately, especially in the last feels like month, we've really gotten that come to a head with the AI nonsense, which is going to bleed into next year, I'm sure. As we'll probably figure out what's going on with the console makers, the two that are supposed to be having new consoles or console issues in that next 2027. Are they actually going to delay them? I guess we'll find out at some point. But Randy, what is that thing that stands out to you about this year?
I think Mark hit it right off the bat at the beginning with indie games. Like the smaller games really dominated. I know during the Game Awards they talked a lot about that, where they had 3 indies as for Game of the Year, and a lot of that was the indies really stood out and were fantastic, and a lot of it was AAA games take 18 years to come out, and we don't get them as like we used to. So a lot of people think this is a weak game, but if you search hard enough, you find some amazing games out there, and there's a reason why none of our lists were anywhere close to the same, because the variety of games that came out this year from unexpected studios and small studios just was fantastic. There were too many games to come out and I didn't have enough time. That's the story of every year, but that was a big story this year.
Yeah, I didn't publish mine, but you and I both made like top 10 games that we wanted to play. I don't know if Mark did that in his head also, but the top 10s of games that both of us wanted to play could have been somebody's top 10.
And my list did not include anything Nintendo because I was not planning on to get the Switch 2 this year, so I wasn't hoping to play any of them because I wasn't going to. So they could have all been on my list as well, and still my top 10 list for games that I wanted to play but did not get to is just nuts.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. For sure. Um, I think also that is kind of the theme of this year is the indies, and not only that, but I think of just also how much it feels like PC gaming has, obviously with the bad news that has kind of come out in the last couple weeks with the whole issue with the RAM shortage and all that. It's kind of put a pin in that a little bit, but it feels like with the rise of the PC handhelds, Valve was, debuted the Steam machine again. The numbers that are going up and up are, people playing some type of on a PC platform, and people are, more people are discovering Steam, or people are getting their games off of there and kind of leaving, not necessarily leaving, but also kind of like adding that to their repertoire of where they play games, and then seeing that become sort of like, okay, this is where I'm going to play now. And obviously that's led to what Xbox has decided to do with, it looks like what their next console is going to be. They introduced their own handheld. So that space is getting spicy, and we'll see if that means it's going to go backwards at all with this RAM shortage, and how much that's going to affect how much people can buy laptops. I actually bought, essentially it's like a delayed birthday Christmas present for myself, and also because my other laptop's basically almost at that point where it's like, sometimes I wonder if it's going to turn on today. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm just going to buy it and, save myself the headache of, oh my God, what's this going to look like in 2 or 3 months? Is this going to be, this laptop was pretty expensive. Are we looking at like double that price just for what this laptop is now? So, yeah, it's going to be crazy. And that's not just laptops, that's PCs, that's the handhelds. Will those go up? Will the consoles go up again? That's going to be interesting too. That's another theme that I feel like is a big thing of this year is console price increases. We have never seen that in the history of video games. By this time, every time we have decreases in console prices. And it just shows how much the world around us, which a lot of times video games has been immune from, is really affecting video games now, because of all the other things combined, how it's affecting the consoles, and affects people that want to buy them. The whole deal of 2027 is supposed to be the year, and there's so many people that just like, I don't want that thing. Please don't give me a PS6 or Xbox, whatever. I had enough just trying to get this thing that I got right now. I want to enjoy that, So anyway, moving on to, I guess, also, what is that game that you feel like you missed out on this year that you didn't play? That you really wanted to, that for some reason or another you didn't get to play at all. What was that for you, Mark?
Probably that Lunar collection. I mean, I know it's a collection, but still. But probably, if you want like a real answer, probably like Metroid Prime 4, maybe. But I have no like history with that franchise, so doesn't mean a whole lot to me necessarily.
Randy, what was that?
Mine was that Shinobi game that came out in August. It came out right around that same time the Hollow Knight came out and Ninja Gaiden came out, or Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. And I made my choice, and then I saw everybody went, no, Shinobi's so much better than Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. And I still haven't gotten around to playing it yet.
Yeah, I made the same choice you did. Wound up feeling the same way. That is one of the things that I got on the holiday sale. So it's just sitting there. Let's see if I play it in the coming days. My number one was the Trails in the Sky first chapter remake. I really wanted to play that. I did play the demo, and then it's just like I'm looking at it and I'm going, man, do I have 60 hours or whatever to dedicate to this thing right now? I don't want to just go and I've tried to avoid that this year. I've done that so many other years where I'll buy games just to be like, okay, I'm going to play this, right? I'm going to put this in I got to play this before the end of 2025 or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just avoiding that unless it's on a sale. And I waited long enough for it to show up on that holiday sale that Sony's doing right now. So I got it at a discount, and that'll be my mission to start playing that in this time when we're waiting for the 2026 releases to start showing up on the release calendar and all that stuff. So, but I mean, I'm sure anybody watching or listening later has like their own, like, you know, what Randy and I talked about, top 10 list of games I wish I had gotten to this year. And also just another thing to know too is like the multiplayer indie games that were also like big this year, like Peak and Schedule One, and I guess Arc Raiders, you can call it indie, sort of. I don't know if you call it indie, but all those games just kind of came out of nowhere and just, all right, got people playing. You know, Arc Raiders is still absolutely up there in the Peak concurrent count. So, you know, just thought I'd give that a shout out because I know it's not on any of our list. Neither is Battlefield 6, which, you know, dethroned Call of Duty this year, it looks like. So that's a feather in the cap for EA there.
For 1 year.
For 1 year, yeah. We'll see if that motivates whichever team is working on Call of Duty next to really bring it back to the Black Ops 6 time frame. But all right. Just really quick also, because Randy didn't get the Switch to Mark. I know we did our Nintendo report card or whatnot, but just, you know, for everybody watching that maybe didn't get a Switch 2, is looking into Switch 2 next year. Do you feel like with what came out this year and what we have looking ahead next year that the Switch 2 is worth it for people, or they should still kind of wait?
No, buy it now while you can, while it's a decent price before next year.
Yeah.
It goes up $100.
I would say, you know, I guess it depends on if you already have a Switch 1. Unless you're dying to play Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think you're good. Although, you know, I don't know how good Pokemon and Metroid technically run on Switch 1, but you can play them on there if you really wanted to kind of save yourself the money. Plus, also, you got a few of the big games that are coming on Switch 1 next year. Also, so, you know, that's on you. But I agree with Mark in that sense of the price thing, because I'm waiting. If they raise the price of the Switch 1, it feels like inevitable that Nintendo will raise the price of the Switch 2 at some point. Once we get out of the holiday season, they've already said that they're not going to make the Mario Kart bundle anymore. So it feels like we're just kind of waiting. Will Nintendo pull that button and go, oh, sorry, but Switch 2 also has to go in price as well.
Right.
But all right, let's go ahead and get into our games of 2025. Are anybody have any like big honorable mentions that barely missed their list that they really wanted to talk about, or anything like that nobody else is going to talk about? Right? If somebody else already has on the list, then you can just be like, okay, this was for like number 16 or whatever, and we can talk about it later. But anybody have one of those?
Honestly,
It's
the
like,
only thing that missed my list, and it was for a bad reason, Little Nightmares 3 is not good, and I'm very disappointed with it after the first two. I know it's made by different people, but man, it's missed the mark, and it's
thankfully Reanimal looks like it's going to be good.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Mark, was there any game there that?
Not really for me, but the one game Jens just got into and like I think just beat like yesterday was Dispatch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He really liked it, so
Dispatch was another one that was kind of like there where I probably would have played if I had time, because definitely love those narrative games. Right. Yeah, I think to me it was like There was a few that the altars should have been higher for me. I wish I would have had more time to play that game. If I would have, I know it would have been higher, but I felt like I couldn't put it any higher because I didn't get to play a bunch of it. But I liked what I played. All right, so let's just start. You don't have to, talk forever about all these games or whatnot. It's up to you how much you want to talk about it. But
Well, you don't want our podcast to go as long as MinMax does?
no, we don't need that. Shout out to them that they can do
Absolutely.
6-hour podcasts. Look at them.
And not even be done. I love that they're coming out with their 210s and they listed over 100 games and kept saying names. Like, none of these are going to get close. Can we
they really need to learn to cut off the number at a certain point. Be like, you don't need to list this because it's never going to go above a certain number.
It did make me laugh that it took them 100 games to finally get some of the games I had in my top 50.
Yeah, right? It's like some of the ones they had way down there was like, wow, okay, it shows you how much they did not care about that game at all. All right, Randy, what is your, I guess, like 15 through 11 and whatever you want to say about them there?
Yeah, I'll go super quick for those. Obviously, I'll skip Despalote. I'll let you talk. I just didn't get into it. I attempted to, but I think it was more the art style that just kind of, I couldn't really get my teeth into it. And I didn't like the controls either. But again, that's not my forte, and I know that kind of hits you in the feels different than it does me, so I totally get it. I had Luto at 14. I've not heard anybody else talk about this game in any other podcast.
I have not heard about this game at all.
I don't know why it came up in, like, it was on a PlayStation Store thing as a spooky game that I kind of, it has a weird Stanley Parable twist to it, where it's basically the game maker starts messing with stuff. So it's like PT. So you're going through the same hallway and the same sections of this house while the story is being told to you, and then all of a sudden you're in the basement and yada yada. And then after a while, the game just starts getting weirder and weirder, but it's not spooky. It's more just like the game developers start messing with things. So then, like, you open a door and then you're starting to see like undeveloped script that you weren't supposed to see, and it kind of breaks down more and more. My son and I got really into this game. But again, it's not very long. The controls were a little rough. Very cool concept, but I don't think they really hit the mark. But it was just really interesting to me that I've not heard another podcast bring up this game, and we had a good couple of hours with it. Sword of the Sea, I know a lot of people have talked about. I didn't really get hooked on it. I think it was a PlayStation Plus game earlier this year.
Yeah, it was a PlayStation Plus Day One game. Yeah.
The new skating platformer is what everybody is kind of getting into. I barely got into Skate Story, so that didn't make my list. But I'm only through one chapter. But it was kind of like that, where you're jumping around through different platforms and stuff. The animations are great. The movement's smooth, but I just never got hooked. I'll leave Power Wash Simulator 2 to Mark. I absolutely love the Power Wash Simulator games. A fun side game for sure while you're watching shows or listening to podcasts. And I just could not stop playing that game. And then Bionic Bay was another one that kind of snuck up on me. Looked absolutely fantastic. But it came out at that same time where I started playing it, and Ninja Gaiden and Hollow Knight, and August made me realize that I'm getting old and I'm not a good gamer anymore. And games are hard, man. And I got stuck on Bionic Bay. There was a puzzle that I got stuck on for like a month. I finally got by it, but then I got like really focused on playing other games. But if you like those Limbo style games, Inside, this is a lot like that, but a bit more faster paced than those two games. And some of the puzzles they have in it are really, really fun. And I have a feeling that once you get in game, it gets really wild. But just missed my top 10 just because I kind of got stuck on it and never gave it a chance to get concluded.
Fair enough. That was a game that was on my, like, I want to play that, but same thing like you. It came to the point where it's like, I don't have time to
August
play all that. Yeah.
August hurt.
Mark, what would you like to say about your 15 through 11 there?
My 15 was Puzzle Quest Immortal Edition. A lot of these are just like remakes or like remasters. So it's all Puzzle Quest. I think they add like one or two new things, but I didn't really notice a huge difference. But it's more Puzzle Quest, so that's always fun. My number 14 was Sniper Elite Resistance. I played it with Jens. It's more Sniper Elite. They haven't changed the formula in at least 3 games, but blowing up Nazis' testicles is always fun. So that's why it's there. My number Randy's list. We can talk about it then. I thought it was fine. It just didn't click enough for me. Like I thought It Takes Two is better, even with the racist guy in it. So we'll get to that. My number 12 was the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. Only because of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is finally on like PC in a legal emulated form. So that's fun.
Sure.
And my number 11 was the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD collection. That's a little different from like Puzzle Quest or Marvel vs. Capcom because they actually did like you could like run in the game finally without it equipping like a stupid rune to it. And there are a few like quality of life improvements that make it a little easier to get into. And having like a trophy system to like actually like make you want to do some of this weird esoteric crap and Suikoden 2 is good. Like I didn't even know there was a cooking mini game in that game.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, or like you can like there's like a back window that you can like go up and like get to like the roof of the castle, and I'm like, you can do that. Like, so yeah, that's about it. That's kind of like my quick list or like of the bottom stuff.
All right, for me, let me go through here. I was trying to go through. I mentioned the altars. That's not a kind of game I play very much, like kind of the survival type. But I love the narrative of it just being weird and having the different like versions of himself that kind of talk to each other and whatnot. It just kind of was one of those things where it's like I wanted to go back to it, but I didn't have time. But it was like I left with the impression of I really like this. I hope I can come back to it, and I did not, fortunately. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I love Ninja Gaiden. It's one of the 2 Ninja Gaidens on my list. It's a return to form for the 2D Ninja Gaiden, and it was really well done. Love bringing him back into this, and just the level design, the way that they did the combat in this was really well done. Just love that like blast of the past of Ninja Gaiden. Really tremendous from them. Blueprints is a game that I'm not a puzzle guy like Randy. I appreciated it. I gave it the old college try for a bunch of runs, and I kind of felt like the whole RNG of it. I was like, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to the next whatever you would consider that being I got to this cool point, or if you ever get to that point. And I didn't want to go and be looking up stuff. So I was just like, okay, I'll come back to it. And then, April was pretty crazy. So also didn't get to go back to it either. Ninja Gaiden 4, been waiting for this game for a long time. Didn't know how I was going to feel about having the other protagonist, but I ended up liking him. Obviously, the gameplay is amazing in that game of just getting to slice through dudes. The story's whatever, but just the combat is so fun that makes me want to keep playing. I didn't get to I think I got about halfway, so that's why it's not further up the list. But it's still, I thought they did a really good job with it, and one of the standouts for Xbox on the year. South of Midnight. Look, it's got its issues, okay, with the gameplay, and it's not perfect, but the soundtrack is great. as somebody that's from the South, I really, really appreciate that they told that story. And they did it really well. And it has all the fantastical stuff that you love of that kind of like gothic horror stuff. It just, I wish the gameplay was better, but the rest of the stuff about the game is great. And it's one of those times where it's like, okay, it's on Game Pass, and it's one of those where I feel like, okay, on Game Pass, this is a terrific title. And it was a budget title. Like they did a good, they didn't overprice it either. You know, I thought $40 is fair for it, for all the stuff that was in the game. And for that, I give them a thumbs up. You know, and it's not overly long either. So also great on that point. All right. Randy, what was your 10 through 7? Whatever you want to say about it there.
Oh yeah, we already talked about Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I echo everything you said. It was a great return to form. The combat was really smooth. Bosses were rough, not in a good way. They were difficult. I say that because I'm stuck in that game as well because of a certain boss. But I do like that there's a little bit of branching off that you can do in choosing which way you want to go in the levels. But for the most part, it's just kind of choosing which level you want to do first for the most part. But I'm a sucker for those old games. We talked about Prince of Persia last year, and this one was kind of in that same boat. Mark brought it up with Split Fiction. I 100% agree with him. It Takes Two was so much better. And honestly, to me, I was disappointed because, you know, that's a game that my wife and I always play. Or It Takes Two was so much fun. And we would get into Split Fiction, and then it would just drag on too long. Like the levels, I feel like were just, they overstayed their welcome. And the concept of having the two different worlds, the fantasy world and the sci-fi world, was great. But it was like the sci-fi worlds were way too hard for my wife to play because they're like they asked for too much like precision for somebody that doesn't play a lot of games. And then the fantasy worlds were just, they were the exact same every time. I had one ability, she had another, and we just waited for our turns. I think It Takes Two had far more creativity to it than Split Fiction. But with that said, we still made it through. It was a lot of fun to play with my wife. Just after It Takes Two, and of course Joseph Ferris, who continues to like overhype games, kind of oversold what he was doing. Yes, the final level is really cool, but I wish there was far more of that. I also missed the mini games. Like the mini games from It Takes Two is what set it apart. Here you have side stories, but the side stories are just exactly like the rest of the game, except for like the first two. If you have played it, my daughter made us play the sausage level 50 times.
Yeah, that's like the one like creative part. Or, like,
yeah, and it was like
and
it's like the first one or second one you get. So I was super excited to start diving into it. And then after a while, it was it's just a side story. So still a really good game from those guys. Just after It Takes Two, a bit disappointed. I could not help myself, guys. I've never played a Bennett Foddy game before, and I probably still won't. But Baby Steps was far more fun than it should have been. Yes, the controls were as frustrating as they were supposed to, but it actually told a really sweet story, and you work your way through it. I am also just very glad that I had the sense to put censor mode on, because I have an 8-year-old daughter, and
yeah. A lot of cursing in that game.
Well, no, there's a lot of donkey dicks.
Yeah. Oh, that too? Okay.
Luckily, it was just a lot of black bars on my game. And there were a lot of scenes where I just went, I am so glad that that I'm not seeing what they actually wanted to show here. Some of these challenges are just rough. But honestly, I found myself laughing at this game far more than I was expecting. If it ever ends up being on a Game Pass or a PlayStation Plus, just give it a try, because it is, as long as you can kind of get through that first couple hurdles, it's that stupid staircase. Yes, this game, you're bringing back a lot of bad memories there, Sean, of a lot of things that happened. Number 7 might be criminally low. But Hollow Knight Six Song goes here. My son is far more into Hollow Knight than I am. And I'm going to tell you, I don't like the diagonal dashing when you do your attack in Silk Song compared to Hollow Knight. So I kind of bounced off this, but you can definitely tell that they just have polished the original and added things to it to make it even better. And the world's more expanded. So I give it credit, even though it didn't fully hook me in. So Hollow Knight Six Songs there. Do you want me to start at 7 or you want me to go to 6?
You can stop at 7 there.
I'll stop at 7. There you go.
Yeah, I wish I would have been able to play more Hollow Knight Silk Song, but it's just like one of those was like I died a few times and I'm like, okay, I'm already not the most Metroidvania person as it is, and the going back and forth thing, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna stop before I just hate the game. So,
I guarantee if I go around this corner and open my office door, my son is playing Silk Song right now.
Hey,
he's hooked.
You know,
He's hooked.
The people that love that game really did love it. So
100%.
you know, I'm glad that it lived up to the hype that people had for it, for sure. Mark, what's your 10 through 7 there?
Well, one thing I was going to say about Split Fiction is I think like the winter or like the town level in It Takes Two was like so much better than almost all of Split Fiction. Just because there was like this big open area that you could just kind of like mess around in, and it wasn't like this huge story. And you weren't like rushing to the end of the story. It was just
and it
like,
had and that's what I loved about It Takes Two. I think it was my game of the year when the year it came out. Is because of a level like that where Mark's exactly right. There's not a lot of story to it. You just kind of wandered around, and the amount of times either myself or my wife would go, "Hey, look, come here, we got to do that." And there's like mini games all over the place, and that's what I missed.
Yeah,
Split Fiction was very just straightforward. You're going down the path and taking a challenge that was too tough.
Some of the areas in Split Fiction were just like really brutal. Like especially there was like one fantasy level where like me and Jens got like really stuck in.
Yeah,
and I wish the game actually had like maybe not a tutorial, but just like a, hey, skip this part or show me what I have to do, because the guide or what I saw on YouTube just told me to do, I'm doing, and it's not working. So what's going on here?
It was a tougher game, that's for sure.
I will say also just you know, because you said your wife played it, my daughter loved It Takes Two. It was the one game that I've ever seen her get, aside from like the stuff she likes, like, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's and Minecraft and Roblox or whatever, where she was like, I told her, let's play a game together. And she's like, do we have to stop playing this game? And then Split Fiction, it didn't do the same thing for her at all, you know? So.
But hey, I bet you're looking forward to that Split Fiction movie with Sydney Sweeney, huh?
You know, as a movie, maybe they'll make it work more.
Sometimes you just never know. The story of Split Fiction wasn't great, but
right,
you never know what the video game
maybe it'll give. I don't know if Joseph Fares is going to be involved or not, but if it's going to give him a second crack at, now that you have the reviews and people saying what they didn't like about it, they can do the rewrite, and perhaps for the movie they can make it work.
Yeah,
but
so my number 10 was Once Upon a Katamari. It's more Katamari, and they finally made a new one after 15 years or 10 years or whatever. That's not on the Vita, so it's not like the most like original game, but they did add like power-ups, which are kind of fun. And yeah, I platinumed that game. It's kind of hard, but it's fun. My number 9 was Power Wash Simulator 2. I think it's a fine game. I think I like the first one more though. There's a few janky parts in the second one, I thought, and I didn't. Some of the levels are just like so big and so overwhelming.
That's fair.
What do you think?
No, I'm with him. I like the big levels, but again, it's my perfect. I'm gonna watch a show and play Power Wash Simulator 2. So the big levels to me, I'm like, all right, bring it on. But yes, there's so many levels you get into it and you hit the whatever button, it flashes was dirty and it just all turns orange.
Yeah.
It's like,
but it's the Spidey sense, it's the grime sense.
It's like, oh man.
Right.
And I finished watching all the Golden Girls as I beat that game, you know.
I will say the multiplayer worked a lot better at this one because you could have split screen, and again, a lot of my memories for these games that I played this year kind of go with who I got to play with. I talked about Ludo
Right.
before because my son and I got into it. My daughter got hooked on Power Wash Simulator. I can't get her to clean her room, but she was all about getting the wheels on the truck clean.
So, I'll give her a power washer and let her go.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be so much fun if you could just spray everything down, right?
And I'm looking forward to the DLC. Like I don't care about Adventure Time, but if they come out with like more Final Fantasy stuff or
that's gonna be interesting. Now that Square Enix is not publishing, would they do a deal with them again?
Yeah, honestly, I hope they add stuff. I never played the first Power Wash Simulator when it came out. I played it years later, but I was kind of disappointed that there was no challenges and different time modes and stuff. I feel like it was part of the original because there were trophies hooked on it, but it kind of felt bare bones with it.
Simulator 2 also has like that weird like home base thing or like the decorative thing, and it's like, why is this here? Or like, who cares?
So you can
I'd rather just
clean the little things.
Yeah, I'd rather just have like bigger level or like maybe just like a randomizer level or something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
My number 9 is Ghost of Yote. I haven't beat it yet. It's good. It's more the same kind of. Like they kind of trimmed some of the fat from Tsushima. I don't think the story quite hits though necessarily. Like it's more of the kind of the same. And it's fine, but it's just not like blowing me away necessarily.
Yeah.
And my number 7, which is higher on Randy's list, is Silent Hill F. We'll talk about that later. I will say the impressive thing about Silent Hill F is that I managed to beat it. Like it held my interest enough to finish it, which is
I'm excited to talk about it because
not something Silent Hill has done ever.
Yeah, because it was funny because last year Randy was all about Silent Hill 2 remake and you hated it. So
yeah.
We'll get into it because I'm very curious your thoughts on a few things, and I'm glad you finished it because it's a great game.
Yeah.
All right. My 10 through 7 here. Mark has this higher on his. That's Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I don't have I haven't played that many Yakuzas.
Right.
But Majima is always the super fun side character that when you meet him, it's like, can I do more stuff with Majima? And that's what made Zero great because you got to play with him as like for half the game. And then here's a full game where you get to play as him and he's a freaking pirate and he's doing, crazy stuff and you get the ship combat and all that. I love doing all the ship challenges. Look, to be fair, it doesn't get, after a while, you get just too much money and you get way too powerful and the game just never, it doesn't scale up with you. So it's like, it becomes a cakewalk after a while, but I still had tons of fun.
That.
Yeah.
I
had a ton of fun because, it's still the goofy Yakuza stuff, but now you're playing as somebody that's also just as goofy as the goofy stuff. So it's a different contrast to like the super serious, like Kiryu, and it's not, Ichiban either. So it's still like that. Okay, you're going back to the old school. He's doing the beat 'em up stuff. It's not the RPG thing. And I loved having the two different styles also with the swords and then also just his regular style too, unlocking all that. That was fun. So the story was kind of all right. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be, but it's not, I wouldn't put it up there with the Annals of Yakuza or whatever, but still, as far as the spin-off games go, where a lot of them are kind of like whatever sometimes, this is probably one of the better Like a Dragon spin-offs for sure. Number 9 for me is Ball X Pit, which is higher on Randy's list. This game is just fun, man. It's just, you just put on the level, just shoot things. It's like Brick Breaker, but faster, and you have the roguelike elements. And I wasn't a big fan of the build a town thing, but
I don't know. I still don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
I place things and hit them.
Yeah, Same thing. I just like would place things randomly and like, okay, I want to get back to the part where I'm like just shooting things. Like that's just it was like a good like, okay, turn my brain off. I want to go just shoot stuff for a while and not think about it. And it was really fun. And it has that same kind of like Vampire Survivors quality of like, oh, just one more, right? Just one more. I'll do it again. And they just a fantastic job by the team. Look, Devolver always does these great trailers. They had a hilarious, their entire presentation was this game for 10 minutes. And from the moment I saw it, I was like, this is going to be something. And then it comes out and it's awesome, right? Like that's one of the things I loved about this year is sometimes you have those games that came out that's just like, okay, I don't know what to make about this. And then just absolute greatness, you know? Number 8, I just beat it today. Was the last game I'm reviewing for this year, Unbeatable.
So the name of the title is wrong.
Right, yes, exactly. Okay. The name of the title is wrong. It's a game that, like, look, if you love rhythm games like I do, it's right up there. But this game is also an adventure game because you can play just the actual like rhythm game stuff. It has a whole arcade mode that's all it is. But if you play like the 10-hour story mode or whatever, it has like explorational kind of like point and click adventure game elements where you're trying to go find stuff and solve some like light puzzles. But to me, what makes this work is the narrative between the 4 bandmates and mainly the two main ones, Quaver and Beat, and their story is just it feels like it takes forever to get there. But I'm glad I beat the game because if I would have decided to just sometimes this kind of proves that whole thing of like why sometimes beating a game completely can make a difference when you're reviewing it and how it can change what you think about it. Because I kind of had like a sort of like, okay, this is a fine game, you know, whatever. It's like a 7, right? And then the story goes to the end and I'm just like, okay, that was worth the other 9 hours that sometimes I felt like they were talking way too much and it took forever. And it's like, okay, this went somewhere. This had something to say. And they did a really good job with that. And it almost kind of made me get a little teary-eyed at the end when you finally get the reveal of what's going on with the 2 characters. I don't want to spoil this, so I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, just absolutely well done. Tremendous for D-Cell Games, and that game has been in development for like since 2018. It was a different game at one point with the white label demo, and then 4 years after that's when this game finally comes out. Like I thought they did a tremendous job by them, and another one of the standout indies of the year. Number 7 is Doom: The Dark Ages for me. I love Doom, and Doom: The Dark Ages delivered for me. I thought maybe it was going to be like too slow, but actually it hits that level of. I felt like Eternal was like way too much, like way too fast. It's like I'm jumping everywhere, going nuts, and it's like it almost got to where it's like this isn't that fun. Doom 2016 is kind of like that throwback to Back to Doom kind of thing, and then I like that this was different. Like it's kind of more like you're parrying, going against the character. You're still shooting and stuff. You can still shoot and whatever. There's a lot of collectibles, a lot of things to find if you go around the map or whatever. And it's just fun to just kill all the weird monsters and aliens and whatever. So I enjoyed it. And you know, I don't know what that team's gonna make next because I feel like you just did a trilogy of Doom games. Like maybe they can go work on something else.
Back to
But
Quake.
yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, so as a finale to that trilogy, I think it was very well done and deserved for that team for sure. All right, Randy, what's your 6 through 4? I'm gonna say right now, we all have to say number 1. So
no, don't spoil it for people.
Mind's Eye.
Yes.
Yeah, mine's eye, exactly. But yeah, go
My
ahead.
number 6 is Lego Party. And I'm just going to say this right now. For the little bit that we have been able to play as a family, we've been able to play each map once, but we haven't like really gotten fully into it. I might like Lego Party more than Mario Party.
Oh no! Wow.
Yeah.
But it still ranks lower than Sonic Shuffle.
Yeah, but nothing can beat that game. I mean,
Yeah.
but it just does things that I wish Mario Party would do. Like the maps are a lot more interactive. There's a space level where you have to work together to take out an alien at one point to make sure you're not losing all your little bits. The mini games are not just thrown at you like Mario Party, where it's like, well, this is the one you picked and you're stuck with it. They give you an option of 3 different mini games to vote on, and then one that you can just say, all right, we're just give us a random one out of whatever. But I like that because obviously when you have a collection of 67 mini games, they're not all going to hit, and they're not all going to hit for an 8-year-old, and they're going to be too tough for them. So after a while, we can kind of figure out which ones are the actual fun ones for us. So then we're not stuck on, oh, I hate this mini game. All right, we're just going to go through it. That's great. The one thing I wish they would do with the mini games, there's too many of them that make you go one by one. Like in Mario Party, you're doing a specific thing yourself, but it's splits the screen, so you're all doing it at the same time. This one, everyone is going one at a time, and there's a couple of them. It takes a few minutes to get through. I wish it didn't do that. The one thing that you can do with Lego is you see on the screen if you're watching the video version of this, there's hundreds of different costumes that you can make, and then you can mix and match. So my daughter has a blast doing that as well. So Lego Party is just an absolute blast if you have kids, or if you just want to have a good time. If you like the Mario Party stuff, this works out well.
You can't play online, so you have online friends far away.
You can play on Netflix.
Yeah, that too.
It's one of the Netflix games. Now, I've not tried it, and I've not played it with my phone, but a lot of those mini games are simple enough. I feel a phone controller would do just fine. Number 5 for me is Blueprints. And Sean, I was going to tease you about having it too low, but I feel your pain. I don't know if I've ever put a game out of the years that we've done the podcast together, or way back at 411 or anything, that I put as a top 5 game of the year that I have been so damn frustrated with. But we got so hooked on it, trying to solve the riddle of trying to get to room 46. It's been months since we played. And all the different secrets that all the different rooms have. The lore of this game goes so damn deep. The people that solved the deep lore of this game are absolutely insane. But I totally
people that got hooked on this game, and
man.
This was like the only game they played for a while.
There are still stuff being found that are just like, I don't know how they were able to figure it out. The main mechanic of the game is, yes, it's a roguelite. You open a door, you get 3 options. You're trying to get all the way to the back of this hallway that you're creating every single day. And you're trying to be able to open up room 46 and find the secrets of it. And more stuff opens up. And I am right there with you, Sean. The randomness of the rooms that you get, where you finally feel like you're getting somewhere, and this is what we're going to do. And then it slams the door on you with some of the room choices. Or
you have a plan of like, okay, I'm going to get to this room. And it's like, I just never see that room on this run. Like, what the heck?
And that is why I get so shocked with the people that have really dove so deep into it, because that's where it kind of fell off for me. Was we beat the game, we got to room 46, we started opening up all these other secrets, we found all of these extra things to start to try to figure out, and this room connects with this room, and if you put these 2 rooms together, then you can flip this switch, and then this whole new thing will happen, and then you would just never get those rooms ever. So it's like, it got really frustrating going, I'm going in with this specific task, and then that task never showing up. We got better about going, here's 10 things we can do, because we just started looking up things that people did so we could extend the game. But the base game, an absolute blast. Some of the secrets and the puzzles that you have to do is just the stuff that my wife and I get really into. So This was an absolute surprise for me, and for about a month, that is all we played. We played so many hours of Blueprints. It was nuts. And then number 4, Mark brought it up, Silent Hill F. I do love Silent Hill 2 Remake a lot more than Silent Hill F. I think the story for Silent Hill F is phenomenal, and the way it kind of tells itself is it's one of those games where you play it for a bit and you're like, I don't understand what is happening because it's so vague and you're just trying to figure it out. Like, they throw you into the Silent Hill side of things so fast, so you haven't even been able to get your footing in it. And I think that's all so well done as you get more and more, and it starts to unravel her secrets and what she has been going through in her life, and the struggles that she goes with as she is kind of becoming of age of things. And like, early on, it was like, all right, well, this girl likes this guy that she likes, and then we're just going to get into this bickerness, and it gets way deeper than that. But the thing that really gets me, and I haven't had a chance to fully dive into it, I'm only about a third of the way through the second playthrough, and you have to be hooked on this game to have the dedication for it. And if you don't, it's not me going, what are you doing? But you start playing it the second playthrough, and it's not like Undertale where it remembers the stuff you did. It's just different. It's going, all right, we know you've played it, you know what happens at the end of this game. Now we're going to kind of unravel things a little bit, and dialogue changes where it makes more sense to what's going on. And just the way they're doing, I was like, it's one of those games where I'm sure people have played it 10 times and are still unraveling things. But it was one of those games where about halfway through I went, this is fine. The combat is old Silent Hill like, and it's bad, but that's what it was there for. I mean, old Silent Hill games had the worst combat of any horror game ever, and it was supposed to be that way because they want you to be afraid of the monsters and run from them. There's too many monsters in the game to do that, so you kind of just have to suck it up with the combat. But again, about halfway through, I'm like, this is fine. And then by the time I finished it, I went instantly to New Game Plus, and I got to keep playing this game. It absolutely hooked me for sure, and I'm glad to hear that Mark actually got through this one.
Yeah, so my problem with Silent Hill F, I actually thought the combat was fine, and I didn't really have a ton of like resource problems, except in like a few specific areas, like the one Japanese house where like the monsters were like on the ceiling, like that kind of sucked. My big problem with the game is so there's basically 2 worlds, like the Silent Hill town levels, and then like the dreamy, like nightmarish levels. And then nightmarish levels, there's just like Fox Guy.
Yeah.
And the way they present him as basically a villain. And I know, like, I understand the symbolism. Like, I read up on like the different endings and all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But the game doesn't make a case for him being a villain. Like, or like that the real guy, because it's actually like the husband, like that or the fiance that you're like marrying in the real world, but they don't present him as a bad guy, or like they like the game tries to make a case for him being a bad guy, but it doesn't actually show you anything about why he's bad, or if he's just going to become like your dad, or like if you're going to be like in this like loveless marriage like your mom. So that's my kind of biggest criticism of that game. And then going like, oh, you need to replay the game 3 times to get 3 alternate endings or whatever to see like what's going on. It's like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's totally fair.
Yeah.
I think they kept him ambiguous enough where you kind of
yeah, but then he's like
come up with your own stuff.
He's like cutting off your arm, and you get like the fox or the wolf arm or the fox arm,
Right.
and like he's always
But
like
that made you a badass finally,
right?
Like, it finally made combat good with that arm.
But I'm saying like they really, they're trying to thread the needle of like him being a bad guy or not, and he's not. Like, so
yeah, honestly,
I felt like
it's one of those. It felt like, from what I was interpreting through my playthrough in a third right now, that he's kind of somebody that's been part of an arranged marriage for this this girl. And so a lot of that is the unknown of who he is. And I think that's what's going through her mind is he good? Is he not? I'm just going to go along with it. And then obviously stuff did not happen because that's why she is now in the Silent Hill world, because it seemed like she went nutso at her wedding. It's what I'm putting 2 and 2 together. And maybe he's not a bad guy. But the doll makes you feel that way and you're unsure, but she's just mindlessly following. It was weird, not to get into spoiler. Oh, I guess we're already kind of semi-spoiler. Sorry, guys. But like she has the classmates that you're around in the normal world for half the game, and all of a sudden they go through a door and you never see them again. They're like, hey, we're going up here now. See ya. I'm like, but what happened to my side story?
And the one female classmate who's like jealous of you or wants like the male friend is like so over the top.
Yes, yes.
Like, okay.
But again, for
hey,
Silent Hill for Silent Hill for well over a decade was so
terrible.
Bad. So to get remake last year and to get F, which was really good this year, Silent Hill's back, baby. And I say that with whatever that Twitch thing was in between, and nobody liked that.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
We ignore that.
Was it like Shattered Memories or something?
No, Shattered Memories was one of the better ones.
I forgot what that.
No, we don't talk about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. This is higher for Mark. Hades 2. I love the first Hades a lot. Hades 2 was equally just as good. I didn't get as far in Hades 2 as I did for Hades 1. It's not a knock against the game. It's just I was reviewing the next game.
It requires a lot of runs to beat.
So. Yeah, exactly. It requires a lot of time. I was reviewing games at the same time that I was playing this. The one that I'm going to talk about, or playing a lot of it. The two that I'm going to talk about above it. I really like the new character. I liked that she was more of a magic user. So, I play a lot of like wizards and stuff like that when I do play like the Western RPGs at times. So like having that ability to play in a different way than you did with Z in the first game is really good on their part to kind of have that. I think it's just equally as good as Hades 1. I don't know that it does anything super special, but it's still really good. And, and I mean, it's like the highest rated game, I think, on like OpenCritic this year. So still, like a lot of people loved it. But if I've been able to play it more, it might have been higher for me. I try not to put remasters on my list just because, you technically it is sort of the same games. For why I didn't put Dragon Quest 3 last year, but this game, Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles, benefits so much from having the tremendous voice acting that they added that it makes the game better. Like I understand the story more because you have all of the tremendous, awesome voice acting that's not in the original, right? The graphics are not. They had to basically remake the whole game because they lost the original. And to be fair, the gloss up that they did for it is not great or whatever. It's whatever. But the quality of life features that they added, it's a much more easier game to understand now. You still have a lot of the same strategy stuff that you have to do in the original, but things like even things that were really obtuse in the original game are made much more simpler here. It does feel like they wanted people to really be able to get through this game. And very much so that you can kind of like grind yourself to where it's not hard. And that's what happened to me. I over grinded. And so then it kind of like became where, it wasn't as hard as it probably should have been, or what it's intended to be, but I still had a lot of fun, like learning all the jobs and, getting through all that, and the music is amazing still. So like, I love the fact that Square Enix really brought this out, and they did a tremendous job bringing it back. And who knows, maybe we'll get a Tactics. Will we get a collection of the GBA games done the same way? That'd be cool if we did. And Octopath Traveler 0. I didn't know what to think about when they said this is going to be like a kind of like putting the mobile game in a way so that you can play it as if it was a normal game. And they did a tremendous job with this. I love Octopath Traveler 2. It was my game of the year that it released. Octopath Traveler 0 is equally just as good. It takes all of the great things that are in the first and second game, and this might be the definitive version of Octopath Traveler now. If you haven't played any of the other two, you can pick this up. Yes, there is that town building element to it, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. It's very simplified. You just kind of need to complete the little tasks so that you can go on to the next quest or whatever. And because you don't have all 8 of the characters all like, oh, I have to do chapter 1 with this character and chapter 2 with that character, whatever, it feels much more like a cohesive experience. And when you meet, obviously the characters were all kind of written to be gotcha, so that got taken away, but it's still fun to kind of meet them and learn their abilities and their jobs and all that stuff. And you have a credit character in this game, which makes it easier for you to kind of like feel like this is you and you're inhabiting that and enjoying it. So hats off to the Team Asano team and the mobile game team for doing this justice. They could have easily just gave you the same game but on console, and they didn't do that. Hats off to them for that. Yeah. What's your number 3 and 2, Randy?
We didn't talk about my before.
Oh, we didn't? I'm
No.
sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, my number 6 was just Death Stranding 2. My number 5 is Assassin's Creed Shadows. It has problems, especially with traversal, but it's all right. Especially if you just play as a girl. The guy is kind of worthless, but
you did not like Yasuke, huh? Hate him.
I mean, it's occasionally fun to bust around like the Kool-Aid man through doors, but that's about all I can do. So, but it's okay. I think the story is really bad though. There's like no stakes at all, and they kind of tie it together in this really half-assed way at the end when you're like trying to get this piece of like I think it's like the regalia of Japan or something, but you don't even know what it is, or you don't even like see what it is. So who cares? And then my number 4 is Like a Dragon, the pirate Yakuza game. I just thought it was fun. I thought ship combat was a lot better than like Skull and Bones, but so is everything else.
I mean,
and it was fun. It was fun to battle against Samoa Joe in a game.
Yeah, they did Samoa Joe justice in that game. It's fun. It was fun to see him.
Yeah.
All right.
Now I can go back to Randy's 3.
Sorry.
All right, 3 and 2. I mean, you already talked about it. Ball Pit is my number 3 game of the year. I got hooked on this game. This was my Balatro this year. Number go up, brain be happy. That's what this game is. So many lights and stuff, and it was one of those that legit. For like the first hour or so, I played it. I'm like, this is fine. There's no big deal. But then you start unlocking things, and then it starts opening up more, and then you have more powers to go with it, and then you unlock new characters that have different side things that they're able to do, and then you get to the point where you can have 2 characters and their powers combine, and it gets even crazier than that, and the bosses just get better and better, and after a while, I'm like, that's all I want to play. At this point, I'm trying to get through Expedition 33 for this podcast. I'm like, but I just want to play Ball Pit right now. And it's just that mindless action that you see.
Yeah.
And it's just the same runs over and over, and to the point where I'm now going back and getting the trophies for beating each level with all the different characters and making sure all the characters win at every single different kind of level. And I'm with Sean. Like once you get to the town building, they give me a new building to unlock, and you have to bounce your guys off it a bunch to unlock it. So I just put it in the front and I bounce them off of it until it's unlocked, and then I move it off to the corner somewhere, and then I forget it ever existed. And I know you can upgrade stuff and you can level things up, and it's just that's way over my brain. So I just do crazy stuff, and the actual levels and stuff are just so much fun. That and that's the other thing is I think that's why Vampire Survivors is so fun, and Balatro had really took off. Is you can beat a level in 15 minutes. Like most of these levels, you get done quick, or you fail really quick, and then as Sean said, is like, I got time for one more, and then 3 hours go by, and then you've unlocked 2 new characters that you want to try, and then it's just rinse and repeat and so forth. They have that formula down to a science. It's such a good game. But I could not move it ahead of Death Stranding 2. I talked about it a lot when we did our halfway through the year podcast. I absolutely love this game. I like this a lot more than the original Death Stranding. I think they connected things a lot more. I think it being in Australia was perfect because the whole point is connecting and bringing things together. And for Death Stranding 2 being in Australia, everything can connect. So when you're making your roads, you can all go all the way back to the beginning part, and you don't feel like you're going out of your way to do so. In the first Death Stranding, it all felt like here's your pack of places that you're going to go. All right, you're through this stage, you've moved through the story. All right, now you're going to deal with mainly these 3 or 4. And then once you got to that big area, they connected a little bit more. But with this one, you have your tutorial area in Mexico, you go to Australia, and everything opens up and goes nuts. Obviously, the Kojima stuff, everything's over the top. I thought they made the combat a lot better in this game as well. I still will scream to the rooftops that the Game Awards put Troy Baker nominated for Best Voice Acting for the wrong game. Yes, he was a great Indiana Jones, but he was so good in this game. And I think this would have won some awards if it wasn't for a certain game that we were all going to talk about in a little bit. Because I thought Kojima nailed it. It was so fun. The story was way over the top and ridiculous. The graphics were near flawless. I don't know if I've seen a game look like what Death Stranding 2 does in an open world environment that they had. And yes, for anybody before they get nuts, I know Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 looks absolutely fantastic. That is not my style of game. PlayStation gave me a 5-hour trial of that thing. I deleted it after 2, just because I'm not saying your game's bad. It's just not for me. It's just too many menus.
Yeah, it's a hardcore game for sure. Immersive sim it is.
I respect anybody that can get it in that game, but I got to a point where the lady's like, all right, your pants are over here. And then you had to walk over there, grab your pants, and then it brought up a ridiculous menu. Oh, and you need to eat. So go around the corner here and grab your food. And that brought up another whole system. And I'm like, I can't. My brain's too dumb.
It's too realistic for you.
It looks that game looks fantastic as well. So don't come after me. But for the games that I like, Death Stranding 2 is the best looking game I've seen as far as realism goes. So, and everyone knows I love Kojima. So that was my number 2.
Mark.
Well, I'll just say, it was on my list, but Death Stranding 2 was on my list as number 6. Mm-hmm. Again, I managed to finish this one, so it's a notable improvement over the previous one.
Hey, Randy did say he liked it more than the first one, and y'all made a big old fuss about the first one for Game of the Year. So
I didn't.
Well, Randy did.
But Death Stranding 2 gets you into the actual game a lot quicker. It doesn't spend 5 hours before you get the first bike. It's here's the second mission, and you get a bike. And it's all right, cool. And this made it a lot snappier. I thought combat was still kind of a chore, but it's a lot easier this time because you can just summon a big monster to take out everyone. So that's cool. But my number 3 was Donkey Kong Bonanza. Good platformer. You can bust up the world pretty well. I kind of wish there was more Donkey Kong stuff in it. You only see Diddy Kong once, basically. And kind Cranky Kong is kind of like a cameo where he shows up occasionally, but that's about it. But it's a big collectathon, and it's good. The only problem with Bonanza to me is like you can transform into different animals, and at least 2 of them suck really bad. I think it's like the ostrich and maybe one of the other ones is like terrible. I think it's like maybe the horse. It's like, no, I don't want to dash around these levels because this is extremely imprecise and way too quick for me to do. So no, thank you. But it's a good Donkey Kong game and a good showcase for the Switch 2, I think. And then my number 2 is Hades 2.
Anything else you wanted to add there to Hades 2?
The only problem with Hades 2 to me is like they really obfuscate the level, like the end of the game, I should say. And like I saw, it was like a month after the game came out. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna patch the game to make the ending even longer." It's like they're like, "Oh, people are getting to the ending too quick, so we're gonna extend it out." And I'm like, "No, that is the opposite way." Like,
yeah,
because you have to play.
It's a roguelike. You want to get there as many times as possible.
Well, like no, there's like an ending, like a late game reveal, like a like the secret ending. But it's like I don't know if I don't like to play a game for 100 times necessarily, especially when like these runs take a while. Like this isn't like a short game.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's really good. Yeah, like combat was good. Story was pretty decent. Great voice acting and music. So, yeah. Way to go, Greg K.
Yeah, first time they made a sequel. And
don't worry, once they make Pyre 2.
Hey, I like Pyre. All right, my number 3 is also Donkey Kong Bonanza. Man, it was fun just destroying stuff in that game. It's the same thing, kind of like Bog's Pit, where it's just like turn my brain off, just go destroy stuff for a while, and I'm finally gonna get through. I got done getting enough treasure chests and bananas and banana and whatever else. The music was really good as well. I do like the different levels and whatnot. I agree with you. I wish there was more like Donkey Kong, like kind of
right,
sort of like cameos or kind of like lore stuff, I guess. I thought Pauline is really well put in as your kind of like sidekick and
or them kind of tying like Donkey Kong Island to DLC was a little.
Yeah, that's kind of that was really annoying. It's like, and you're charging it's like $20 or whatever, and then the other, and it's like one island, and then it's like the stupid roguelike game that wasn't anything. It's like, but no, the game. You go ahead. Sorry,
I was gonna say it would have been more interesting if you could go to the city itself and like destroy that.
Yeah. But no, it's a tremendous like kind of first big game that's Donkey Kong had its Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey moment here, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here, because Donkey Kong was kind of like in the doldrums, like one of those franchises where I don't know that Nintendo kind of knew what to do with it there.
They made those like Tropical Freeze games, but no one cared about them except for Dan Reichert. So
Tropical Freeze is great. It's just that Donkey Kong, right?
Right.
So it's cool that they did something different with Donkey Kong, and they did it really well. So we'll see if this turns into like another kind of like franchise sort of thing for them or not. Number 2 is Despalote for me. This one like really hit me on several levels, just because not just from being a huge soccer fan, but also being from Venezuela, which is close to Ecuador. We haven't had that moment yet. I thought it was going to be this year, but even with 48 teams, Venezuela still can't get to the World Cup. But it's cool to have that moment of like, this is the first time you've been to the World Cup. The US has been around in it since the beginning, so it's kind of like, and I wasn't, in 1990 I was 4 years old, so I'm not gonna remember that. when they finally got to go back again after having all these years where they didn't go. So like having them tell that story and having them tell it from this point of view of a little kid, and he tells you later that it's like, I don't know if I really remember it the way that I'm telling you, but this is what I would have thought, and then it's like, it's a cool, like, just sort of, you're also kind of living in the time and having the chatter behind you of like real life things going on and whatever of all that environment. It's just a very well done, not super long game that from being like it's not solo dev, it's like 3 or 4 people, but I thought they did a tremendous job. And again, like it speaks to like how you tell a story and how you remember stories, and I thought they did a great job with that. So yeah, I guess we might as well go ahead and talk about the number 1 game, our game of the year, unanimous game of the year. We'll give you know what, let's actually do the whole list first, I guess. So just to kind of give people, because the top 25 list is basically done in the whole sort of like your number 1 gets 15 points, your number 15 gets 1 point, and you could do the math from there, sort of. So basically how we tiered it, depending on where everybody put it, that's where it's kind of gonna wind up. So all of us had Clair Obscure Expedition 33 at number 1, so that became our game of the year. But as far as the I guess the list goes here, I think it's Suikoden 1 and 2 HD is number 25, Bionic Bay 24, South of Midnight is 23, Once Upon a Katamari is 22, Ghost of Yote 21, which is crazy. Baby Steps on number 20, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound at 19. Then Unbeatable at 18, Hollow Knight Silksong 17, Doom Dark Ages 16, Split Fiction at 15, Lego Party 14, Assassin's Creed Shadows at 13, Power Wash Simulator 2 at 12, Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles at 11, Octopath Traveler 0 at 10, Blueprints 9, Despolote 8, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii number 7, Ball X Pit 6, Silent Hill at 5, Hades 2 at 4, Death Stranding 2 at 3, and Donkey Kong Bonanza is 2, and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is our number 1, our game of the year. Why is it game of the year for you, Andy?
Well, first off, I mean, it was number 1 for all 3 of us, and it was the only game that was on all of our top 15s. I don't know if that's ever happened where not one other game all 3 of us put in our top 15s before, other than Expedition 33. And listen, we talked about it again at the halfway mark, and I had said before that it was between Expedition 33 and Death Stranding 2 and who was going to kind of hit it home. And the funny thing is, I finished Death Stranding 2, and then Expedition 33 kind of got sidelined for a bit as life happened and work happened and was playing other games. So I finally got back to it here in the last couple weeks. And man, the combat's so good. The thing that I will say, just as a downside of things, people are overselling it a bit. Going, oh my God, this is like RPGs of yours. Like, no, they took the old RPG style and then added stuff to it, so you had stuff to do. It was like the old Legend of Dragoon stuff, or Super Mario RPG, where you have to do stuff in between the attacks, but this is far more stylized and ridiculous, and the battles are over the top, and the sound design just adds to it. The music that happens when you're playing in these boss battles are so over the top. So it just, everything felt epic the whole way through. Obviously, the art design looks fantastic, and it actually plays into the way the story unfolds. The characters are great. It's a fantastic game. I will argue that for those that are saying this is a game of a generation, we haven't seen anything like this in years. I'm not a Persona fan, but I feel like Persona 5, we heard the same thing. So it's a fantastic game, easily game of the year. No question about it. But I will say that it will come down on greatest game of all time.
I think it's fair for some folks that maybe, I think this is doing the same thing that Persona 5 did for people as far as JRPGs go. As far as like, oh man, I've never played a JRPG like this. And then also the fact that this doesn't have the anime aesthetic to it, right? So like it opens the door for a lot of people that would never touch a Final Fantasy game or a Persona because it's too anime. It's too the character stuff is too whatever. This has a lot of silly moments in it. So like it's not super serious all the time. But for me, I love the fact that they didn't just take the stuff from. I mean, he mentions Sakaguchi and of course, Final Fantasy creator, all that stuff. I love the fact that they allowed this to be what it is. Right? It's super French. They didn't try to have French people making a Japanese game.
Mm-hmm.
They made it in their own style using the things from RPGs, JRPGs that they love, and then iterated on that, and had the Luminous and the Pictos and how that all works together, and the characters, how they all work together, and how they all had their own like combat aesthetic, that how you can make that work as a cohesive unit, and like it is the Super Mario RPG, but it's taken to a whole nother level with like, you add the Souls kind of parrying and dodging part of it. And then having that, like when you get to do the team parry, that is so satisfying when you finally get to do that. Like, it's so cool. Or when you get to like parry the shit out of a dude that you couldn't beat like 10 levels before, but you get good at it finally, and you can finally beat one of those like secret characters or whatever. And it's an awesome feeling, right? And I loved exploring around the world map, and they could have done that a little bit better, maybe. But I also got to remember it's a $50 game. They don't have the super high budget of like a Final Fantasy or whatever. But the fact that this game got made for 10 million, and the way that a lot of these people were found to become part of the core 33-person team. Now they have the outsourcing and whatever. So it wasn't 33 people, but it was a core 33 that were doing this. And like, finding the guy that makes the soundtrack on SoundCloud, and he goes and makes the soundtrack of the year, and it's like, it's insane. It's insane. And, her voice is, Alicia's voice is amazing for this as well. Like, just every time I hear that opening song of that game, it gives me chills of thinking about it again. Just I agree with you. I think people are kind of like overhyping it a bit, but I can see where, like, if you don't play a lot of these games and then this thing hits you like a truck, like, it's like, oh shit, and I love the ending choice as well, just making you really have to think about that. Don't want to spoil for people, but that's cool. Mark?
Yep. I never quite agreed with the whole Persona 5 game of the generation thing, because it's kind of building off the backs of, Persona 3 and 4. I mean, I guess you could say the same about this game with Expeditions 1 through 32, but no, I think it's a really great game. It is building off of a lot of like systems of previous games with Mario RPG, or more really like Lost Odyssey, especially with the whole like
not a Lost Odyssey.
Yeah. But I think it's just really great. It's memorable. I love the fact that it's like French, because it's not like the usual dystopian future, like Japanese future cyberpunk thing, or weird, pastoral farmland thing. The characters are great. I kind of hope they don't do a sequel. I just hope they do something completely new. But I wouldn't mind another game in the world necessarily, though. Like I'm interested in the whole like writers versus artists war.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they'll do an Assassin's Creed game next.
They did say that Expedition Clair Obscure is the like franchise name,
Yeah,
and then they will, if they did another one, they would just add an Expedition number whatever,
right.
So we'll see. I think they did go on record of saying that they may do something else instead first, and then if they want to revisit it, they will. Which I agree. I do think that I think it would be cool to see them do something different and not just feel like, okay, well, we got to go do this again, because number one, it's like trying to top that after you already did it once. That's going to be super difficult, you know. So maybe go away from it at first and then come back to it later when people have had time to kind of sit with it and not have just played it or whatever. So yeah. Are you ready for Final Fantasy 17 to have the same combat, Randy?
No, God, no.
I'm joking.
That's the other thing that's driving me nuts. This is what Final Fantasy needs. No, why do all the games have to be the same? That's what I loved about Expedition 33. It was his own thing. Marc nailed it. The French aesthetic, like a lot of the stuff that they brought up, I don't know what that means. And that's great. Like,
yeah,
because it felt different. It looked different. It sounded different. And it's because we just have not had an RPG in that kind of world before.
And also the voice acting is like top notch compared to a lot
like
of
all the characters were great. Like Minoko was hilarious. I think that's one of my favorite side characters that I never used, but his stuff.
Minoko has to have like one of the best theme songs.
That when you fight him, I lost my mind. Wes hasn't been on this show in years, so most people won't remember him. But he and I have been talking back and forth because he's hooked on this game and he's doing all the side stuff. And I got to a certain boss. I won't spoil names or whatever. And I went, I'm just going to sit here and listen to this theme because I'm not ready to fight this person. And he goes, oh my God, it's so great. And then 5 days later, I went, oh, the second time you fight this person really sucks. He goes, I'm not going to lie. I really thought that's what you talked about the first time. And I thought you were there because the theme was so much better. But yeah, like the music is so good in this game. I get it's that epic feel that you get through all of this. And I think so you get through this game and I'm watching people react to it and what they think of the ending and everything. And one of the guys I always watch all the time, Maximilian dude, I think said it best. Like, this game does not happen if the developers don't go off and make their own studio away from the big wigs.
Yeah. Oh wait, Ubisoft would never have this
because you can't take a risk like this, and that's why I'm saying like Final Fantasy can never do anything like this because they have to stay in their lane and stay in their box, and we have to make sure that this group likes it and this group likes it. We have to make sure everyone buys the game, even though Expedition 33 just showed we're going to make the game we want, we're going to do it exactly how we want, and you're going to like it or not. And everyone went, you know what? This is so original and fantastic. We all love it, and that's great. And hopefully it sells just a ton and shows the big studios that stop making Assassin's Creed for the 57th time or Call of Duty for the 99th time. Like, you can come up with an original story and it's going to work. Try something different. Take an idea like Lost Odyssey with their battle and you do this from your heritage and mold it together and come up with something just different and fantastic, and then it has to be good on top of it. But man, like that's the thing that Expedition 33 got me. It felt absolutely like a game I've never played before, but felt like so many other games that I've played in my life, all molded together perfectly, and it's just a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's an absolutely amazing game. That's why it's winning so many Game of the Year awards, running away with the thing, and with good reason. There's like so many like little moments you can pinpoint to in the game with the story and everything. Just absolutely nailed it from like every front. As far as the game goes. It's going to be one of those that we talk about like game of the decade, right? It will have its place that we will then be sitting there go, okay, where does this rank? And we're only halfway through. We still got, 5 more years of this decade still. But all right. I mean, that's game of the year 2025 for us here. Video Games to the Max. Hopefully you have enjoyed this year, us being able to, do the podcast. Thank you, everybody that watches, listens. Thank you to Crafty, who always tells me that he appreciates the show. Always like, it's cool when have people reach out and tell you that the show means a lot, even if it's one person, because that makes me feel like it's cool that it's worth, doing the show every week. Because it is a lot of work to do this. This is actually a little bit easier because I'm not having to go get news and pay attention to stuff all throughout the week and read things and stuff like that. Marc as well, having to keep up with that stuff. So, hopefully everybody had a great Christmas and holidays, and now have a happy new year. And we'll see you on the other side of 2026 next week. For our most anticipated games of 2026, will Grand Theft Auto 6 actually come out?
Will it be number one on my list for the 4th straight year?
Yeah, right. Will it be high on that list again? Will we see something on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 in this year?
Will it finally be the beta year of Star Citizen?
Right. Will Star Citizen stop just taking money from people and just being enough?
Absolutely not. That's I can tell you that one right now.
But all right, until next week, everybody. Thank you, Randy, for being on.
Of course.
Always better when we can have you on, and thank you, Marc, as always. And see y'all later.
Later.